was a sight for my soul.
Yeah, what's up? What's good? What is happening? Welcome to my live stream. I am the actual King Smith, and this is my Try to Be Weekly live stream vlog where I come on here and talk about whatever the funk I want to talk about around 9 o'clock to 9:30-ish Eastern US Standard Time Zone. All right. I have a format to my live stream and show that I typically do, and we're going to get right into it. But before I do, I'm streaming on multiple platforms. You can find me on Twitch, Meta, Kick, YouTube, and X. If there's a like button that can be found on your platform, mash that like button for your boy. Hit me out on the algorithm. All right. That is the algorithm over here. And let's acknowledge the people that have popped in early. We got my boo thing, aka Michelle, aka God Happened to Me, said, not try to be weekly. Hey, charge it to my heart and not my head. Last week I was not live as I was traveling, and I have no excuses. I could have made it happen, but I did not. I was up in Philly, the city of brotherly love, which happened to be the city of Mickey Mouse, but that's not a story for today. And she also said, good evening. Hey, lady, thank you for popping in. All right. Now, what we're going to talk about today is a couple of different things. I've titled this live stream, You Are a Loser Because of You. Not anybody else, not the left, not the right, not no Democrats, not the Republicans, not my mama, not my daddy. You are a loser because of you. But that's okay. That's okay. You can get that mindset changed, and that's what we're going to focus on. I decided that I want a good bit of my message to be about your mindset, right? And I'm reading a lot of different books that challenges traditional thoughts and beliefs, and putting a message out there that encourages people to focus on changing this. And if you can change your mindset, you can change your life. So that's what my channel's about. That's what my live stream is going to be about. I'm also going to get a little bit personal on some things, okay? As I have started taking TRT, that is testosterone replacement therapy. And I've had some people that have asked me to give updates about how that's going. So I'm going to do that every week that I'm live. I'm going to talk about the main topic for today shortly after that. I found an article that I thought that is going to say you can't trust the government. And here's why. And I'm somebody that works for the government. Yet, I know the good and bad that comes along with that, but you have to be an advocate for yourself, and that's part of the mindset thing as well. And I'm going to share a story that I found that I thought is the perfect example of you have to be monstrous about advocating for yourself. And then we're going to end the show on some Reddit reads, rants, and advice. I found one that specifically made me shake my head so bad it almost fell off. And I got a big ass head. All right. So that could have been disastrous, and we could have started a whole earthquake on the East Coast. So without further ado, let me know where you're checking in from, what platform that you're watching on. Let's get active with the engagement. Oh, and I'm also on LinkedIn. I decided that I'm going to start streaming on LinkedIn as well. We're going to be loosey-goosey tonight. Let's have some fun and let's get active. We got Marriage, Politics, and Sports said, bingo. Hey, a little bit of what I'm talking about tonight was inspired by what you said yesterday. I was watching and listening Black Man Unfiltered panel and group, and several people were active on there, and there was a conversation that got started that I'll get into when I get to that segment. So I appreciate you, Marriage, Politics, and Sports, for popping in and dropping that comment, acknowledging what it was that I said. And you said your lady had you occupied last week? Yeah, that's what I said. All right, so let's start with the TRT update. All right, we are on week 5 of me on TRT. That is testosterone replacement therapy, and I feel great. I feel great. I always want to have this sheet that talks about how as time goes, like the first couple of weeks, you should start feeling like this. By month 6, you'll feel like this, and by the first year, as you're getting your labs done and your nurse practitioner or healthcare professional is making adjustments, it kind of shows you and talks about kind of where things should be. And for me, I said I felt as though after that first week, I had an immediate rush of energy throughout the day. Like I felt better. I felt more energy because I was feeling tired all the time. All the time, no matter what I was doing, just tired. And I could get sleep. I have diagnosed sleep apnea. I've been using my CPAP, been pretty diligent about making sure I get to sleep on time, but my sleep was just always trash. Right. And since that first 2 weeks on TRT, I was knocked out by like 10 o'clock. It was a wrap. Boom. Just snoring and gone. Right. um, I it doesn't seem like now I have that immediate hard quick sleep, but I'm still getting good deep sleep. Now I have different fitness trackers like an Apple Watch and a Fitbit that I wear from time to time, and the data is showing that my sleep is improving. My sleep is getting better. Now that I'm on week 5, it's hard to tell on the video because I have different filters on. One of the cons that they talk about with TRT is acne, right? And I'm getting acne on my face. My face is breaking out like I was when I was a teenager back in high school. Okay. Now that I'm a little bit older, those breakouts don't necessarily make me feel any type of way. But when I was a teenager coming up, trying to look good for the ladies, you know what I'm saying? Those pimples, those breakouts sucked. All right. Now, I mean, it's I have several. I have several on my face, and I'm looking at trying to do some research on the best way to manage that. And I do have some people that I could talk to as well. Shout out to Ned Flanders. This is what he does, and he's been doing it for a while. And I've asked him for some advice, and he's going to come on and work some things out with me. He's also said that when our schedules align, if there's anybody that wants to have a conversation about TRT, he's willing to come on and do a live stream with me. And that gives anybody that's out there that's watching or listening the opportunity to ask somebody very directly questions related to it. So if that's something that anybody that's out there listening or watching wants to see, put it down in the comment section. Let me know so I can let him know, and we could get that scheduled and have that conversation. Outside of my energy and my acne, I shared 2 weeks ago when I was last live that the libido is definitely higher. All right. Um, I don't really need to add more to that. Some people can feel weird about, talking about that or whatever, but it's part of one of the things that men are commonly asking when talking about the effects of TRT. Does it help with that? And it can. It can. You have to kind of work some things, but it can. Now, I have not gotten back into the gym just yet. And I have no excuses either. I need to make it a priority. And that's the next step of what I want to do. I want to look at reducing my body fat, getting a lot more leaner. And I know it's not just the gym, it's sleep, it's diet, and it's exercise. Okay. So I plan on working on those pillars as your boy's about to turn 40 in a couple of weeks. All right. I'll be 40 on August the 4th. And, I'm looking forward to it. I'm absolutely looking forward to it. Okay. So before I go to my next section, let me see. I thought I saw a comment pop up. God happened to me with the eye emojis. Does the libido have a direct effect on you? Hmm. Hmm. All right. Next section or next topic. Stop being a loser. What can you do to turn things around? All right. The thing that I think that's holding a lot of people back is that loser mentality. Plain and simple. And if you know what I'm talking about, then you can understand that it's likely that nagging voice that you hear in the back of your head that tells you, I'm not good enough. I'll never make it. Why can't I be like this? That's not anything that I can do. King, I see that you're live every week on Wednesdays. I don't know if I could do that, man. Bro, I'm telling you, just get started. I think that I'm an okay live streamer now. I can work on some presentation things. I can make this thing a lot more improved as far as the presentation and stuff. But I wasn't always like this. My first couple of live streams was trash. I might have said every 5 or 6 words. I didn't know how to display stuff, which you don't have to do that. If you want to just come on and just talk and chit chat, you have a production studio in the palm of your hands with your cell phone. You can buy yourself something to hold your phone, click go live, and just start talking. And over 5 or 6 years, you can build a brand off of that. You are already your brand. You yourself is your own brand. I named my LLC after me because I want to put my brand out there. I am my own brand. And if I would have had a loser mentality and kept that type of thinking where I'm telling myself I'm not good enough, I wouldn't have created my business. I wouldn't be doing live streams. I wouldn't be going sailing in the Annapolis harbor. I wouldn't be getting into the cockpit of an aircraft here in a couple of weeks, because the entire time somebody with a loser mentality is thinking, that can't be me. I can't do that. I can't get my passport. Where's my passport at? It's over here in one of these drawers. I can't get my passport and go traveling to these other places because they don't like me over there. They don't like us over there. That's some of the stupidest shit I can hear somebody say. All right. I've been around the world and and I can tell you, you are loved in many places. You're hated in many places. That shouldn't stop you from going. Okay. And the loser mentality is a straight up parasite because all it does is feed off your own insecurities and fears, right? It thrives on that self doubt. I can have other people tell me what I can and can't do. You can't do this. You don't know me. And I'm not listening to you. But I have that winning mentality. I have that winning mindset. So I don't care what you tell me I can't do. If I would have listened to that, I wouldn't have joined the Air Force. If I would have listened to that back in my heyday, I wouldn't have been a starter in football. All right. Because the more you listen to other people, the more that compounds to your own self-doubt, your own self-talk. I wake up and stand in front of the mirror and give myself a Superman pose and tell myself I'm winning today. No matter what happens, I'm winning today. Think about this as well. Think about some of the most successful people in history, right? Do you think that they never faced any challenges? There have been immigrants that have came over from other countries and have came here to the United States where I live and have built empires, have built a mass of net worth because they had that winner mentality. That was the thing that separated them. Not any kind of perceived special immigration status that they might have gotten. Not because, oh, well, when you come over here from another place, you're automatically given XYZ, which is stupid. People actually think that that kind of stuff happens, and it's not the case. They had a winner's mentality. They understood that there was a thing that they wanted to get to, a goal that they wanted to achieve, and they put in an action plan and steps to make that happen. Giancarlo Esposito, who is starting to build a name for himself as an amazing actor, at one point talked about his financial struggle on Sam's show. And he talked about how he went through 2 bankruptcies before landing his role on Breaking Bad, as well as a foreclosure to his home. And that at his lowest point, he considered turning his own TV off. And he's quoted as saying, "First thing that had me think my wife's father, God rest his soul." He talked about his wife's father's insurance. So Giancarlo Esposito said that he started to ask his ex-wife and poke around, how much am I insured for? And then she told me. And he said, my way out in my brain was, how do you get life insurance? If someone commits suicide, do they still get the bread? This is him asking his wife. And his wife said, well, that's kind of tricky. And he went on to say from there, he just started kind of scheming a bit, trying to figure out if there was a way out, because he had a lot of that self-doubt, talks to himself, and wanted to at least leave money for his family so that his struggle was, done. And he went on to say that if I got somebody to knock me off through death through misadventure, that they would get the insurance. And he said he had 4 kids. I wanted them to have a life, and that it was a hard moment in time for him, and that he literally thought of self-deletion so that they could survive. And then he said, that's how low I was. All right. But that it was his family that ultimately saved him. He went on to say, I started to think that it's not viable because of the pain of them would leave a lifelong trauma, and that it would extend to generational trauma that he was trying to move away from. And that eventually he got the role of Breaking Bad, and that's when things turned around. Now, I said all of that because we see where he's at now, but he had to change his mindset himself to turn things around. All right. Do you think that other people like Giancarlo never doubted themselves? Of course they did. All right. But he didn't let those doubts define him. They faced their fears head on, pushed through those obstacles, and refused to give up. All right. And you have that same potential within you. Everybody that's listening has that same potential within you, but you've got to make that choice. You have to decide when you are done with the excuses, that you're done playing small, that you're done living a life that you are less than capable of. You have to fight that self-doubt. Okay. Start by changing the way that you talk to yourself. Quit with the words, I can't. Start saying, I can. Stop saying, I'm not good enough, and start saying, I got this. Stop saying, it's too hard, and start saying, I'm going to take this one step at a time. All right. Your words have power, so use them to build yourself up and not tear yourself down. Once you start doing that consistently, remove anybody in your life that has those negative self-talk around you. Some people say it's not good to tell people your plans because then people will start picking them apart, and you can certainly do that. I make the choice to share things with people to get feedback because I can handle constructive criticism. But if you're not somebody that can handle constructive criticism well, keep your goals to yourself, write them down in a journal, put it in some type of note somewhere. Ask yourself, what do I need to do to get here? And just start doing it, right? Along with removing negative people, start surrounding yourself with people who believe in you, who support you, like my lady, and who challenge you to be your absolute best. Seek out mentors, join communities, build a network of positive influences, because I heard somebody say this one time: each single finger on your hand isn't as strong in poking somebody, but if you put them together like this and you hit somebody, it's a lot stronger, right? And that analogy is basically saying that together you're stronger than trying to work by yourself. And there's power in a positive network. I forget how to say your closest 5 peers, and I can pretty much tell you how your life is. That's true. I'm trying to find 5 people with boats so I can live that boat life. All right. So go out and make it happen. That's what I'm going to leave this with. Go out and make it happen. Stop making excuses. It's not everybody else's fault. It's not the government's fault. It's not I didn't have my daddy. It's not my mama ain't shit. It's you. Fix it. Let me check the comment section before I continue. Michelle said, "You better preach, sir." Thank you, babe. Thank you. I didn't even mean to come out with the curse words today, but I gotta get people to hear it and understand. And sometimes you can't deliver that message soft. SAWFT, soft. All right. What's next? Oh, don't trust the government. I'm gonna see if I can share my screen here. I found something that I thought was interesting, and let me get to where I can share my screen here and read this along with everybody. I found this article on X, and it said a Chicago Heights homeowner property tax bill went from $1,800 a year to $30,000. How in the world does that happen? Okay. He was going to have to give up his 960 square foot home and move in with his relatives. Now, initially, before I got into the comments, I already knew how people were going to talk about this. Folks were going to say, here's a government trying to move the black man out. All right. Trying to create these different things that, what's it, red zoning, redlining? I don't know the right words. But enact these policies that essentially take this man's land from him, right? Eminent domain and all of that other stuff. Well, there was a lot more to it. And it turns out it wasn't as deep and it wasn't as big as it was. So he said he called the Cook County Tax Assessor's office, and their nonchalant response was, well, everybody's taxes are going up, without really looking into this man's specific issue. But he fought it and he kept digging. And I'm going to share exactly what happened. All right. He also contacted his local news, and it was when Fox 32 Chicago called the tax assessor, they magically discovered that the exorbitant increase was indeed an error. All right. So I'm going to open up the link here, and we're going to get into it. All right. I'm going to make sure that I can make sure that the screen is showing. Yes, it is. So the article says suburban homeowners property tax bill skyrocketed from $1,800 to over $30,000. And it reached right here. Daryl Lloyd, who purchased this 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house in 2006 for just over $115,000, maintains that his current that the current market value of the properties just over 180K. Not that big of an increase in equity for when he got it, especially considering that other areas have had a large jump in equity over reassessments. Okay. So when he got the tax bill, he said he was literally devastated when he saw that increase. He goes, "How can my tax bill be that big on a 960 square foot place that doesn't even have a second floor, that doesn't even have a basement?" Okay. So the property tax hike for the tax bill that he received was a hike over 3,811% based on an erroneous valuation that property in Chicago Heights, the 960 square foot place, was worth $1 million. That is hilarious to me. You would think just by common sense, if you were to call the tax assessor's office and talk to somebody and you bring that up, that it would go, "Oh, wait, what?" Now, I don't know. I can't think of a scenario anywhere that would cause a property to jump that big that fast. I can't think of a scenario unless the government decided to magically make one up. Okay. So this guy who says that he's currently receiving disability after an injury was devastated, obviously. Okay, $1,800 a month spread over 12 months is one thing. Okay, but 30,000, especially when you're not expecting an almost 4,000% increase, is a whole nother ball game. Now, the Cook County Treasurer's Office has acknowledged the issue, stating that Lloyd isn't alone in what happened. An analysis revealed that the assessor's office miscalculated land values for more than 4,400 homes in the south and southwest suburbs of Chicago, leading to severe overassessments for homes on larger plots of lands. But the errors were discovered too late to correct before the tax bills were printed and put out. That's trash to me. That is a trash. How did I can say, all right, I get 10 properties or 10 places, but 4,400 homes? Come on. Like, first of all, who wants to live in Chicago? Why would you want to live there? I got people that are watching this that are from Chicago. I don't know how y'all do it. I don't know how y'all are happy to even say that you're from Chicago. Mm-mm. I went and visited a couple of times in the past. I have zero reasons to go back. And I'm pretty sure Chicagoans are like, "We don't want you here anyway." Great. I don't care to be there. I'm running so fast. Mm-mm. Nope. You won't catch me there unless I'm going to go cash a lottery check. Because if that's what a lottery headquarters is, then maybe you would catch me in Chicago. All right. As Lloyd was trying to resolve the issue, he was met with a lot of frustration and runarounds. I hate this. I've shared on one of my previous live streams. He's dealing with the city government. I have an issue where I'm owed $1,000 that the federal government isn't paying me. And I've called 3 different entities, fully explaining what the issue is, laying it out for them, and I'm requesting an audit. I still ain't seen my money. Still haven't seen it. One entity want to say it's the other entity's fault. That entity wants to then bring a third party into it. That third party says we ain't got nothing to do with it. It should stem from the first entity, and I'm back at square one. So I get this man's frustration. Okay. He decided that, hey, I'm gonna try to do the right thing. I'm gonna go down to City Hall, go to the assessor's office, show them my taxes, show them this substantial increase that looks like bullshit. And they were like, everybody's taxes increase. So they didn't even really assess this dude properly. Okay. And he felt like he was getting nowhere. So he called Fox 32. And what Fox 32 responded, like I said earlier, let me try to get my voice right. This property was giving an incorrect assessment due to a permit that was unintentionally applied to the property. We will process a corrected tax bill for this property in the coming weeks, ensuring that the homeowner will ultimately pay the right amount in property taxes. That's crazy. That's crazy. It took all of that for them to figure things out. Okay. So shout out to Lloyd for escalating it. Shout out to him for fighting the government. All right. And getting his things fixed. And I think he's kind of laid the blueprint, right? He's laid the blueprint to say, hey, if you're banging your head, go to the news, get them to amplify your voice for you. And the crazy part is, it shouldn't take all of that. It shouldn't take all of that. Let's go see if we got some comments before I get to my next segment. All right. God happened to me said, babe, don't talk about the major cities. We don't talk about major cities. I'm going to, because they trash. Marriage, Politics, and Sports said that they were going for a land grab. This is a silent hand trying to get those properties on the cheap. And see, it's hard not to agree with that. It's hard not to agree with that. I'm not a major conspiracy theorist person, right? But it's hard not to agree with that. I'm thinking about some things in my family that I wished my family would have done better. And let me not share this screen anymore. We've lost some properties because of some interesting developments, right? Where I'm from is Anniston, Alabama. If you've never heard of it, it is what it is. But Anniston used to have a rich history behind it in the state of Alabama. It's where some Freedom Rider stuff happened. One of the Army's major security forces training bases back in the 80s and 70s and 90s, it was a big thing. It was also the site of the Monsanto spillage, leakage, corruption, right? They were illegally dumping chemicals improperly throughout the city, and a lot of the contaminated the streams. And over time, those PCBs or PBCs or whatever it's scientifically called, people are, eating from the land, drinking from the land, and living on contaminated land that's caused and a whole things, bad health related events for people, to which the company had to pay out billions of dollars. Most of that money went to the lawyers that fought the class action lawsuit for people. They paid out pennies to some of the people actually affected by what went down. And then a lot of that land got redeveloped, okay, probably bought up by some corporation with money instead of the people themselves, and reinvested. And now people are losing their properties over what some conspiracy theories might say this could have been the plan all along 40 years ago. I don't know. The way I look at it, and it was something that our Payne was talking about, is you have to have an understanding of what's going on, right? Like, if you don't show to any city hall meetings, if you don't go to any town halls, if you're not participating in your local government, then how can you really understand what's going on to properly plan for the way that life ebbs and flows? Okay. If when you're finding out about a tax hike is when it's coming to your mailbox, that's a problem. You should be at these city town halls, watching them as they're live, right? If you can't be there in person, and making your voice heard so that what's going to directly affect you can have your voice can have some impact in the direction of how that goes. I heard somebody ignorantly say because it's not going to matter anyway, and that's stupid. That's dumb. Because most people, when they say that, they're talking about national elections. But the national election, a lot of what you do locally affects what happens nationally. So if you don't even care about what's going on locally or nationally and think that you're going to have the ability to properly plan for what's going to come, I think you're ignorant and stupid. Both of those, ignorant and stupid, or just plain dumb and stupid. I'm not even going to say ignorant and stupid. I think you're dumb and stupid if you don't properly know what's going on locally so that you can adjust for things that are happening. That's exactly what I've been doing. That's exactly what I've been doing. I've been reading up on what's going on, having a voice when I can, and making course corrections as necessary so that I'm not just surviving, I'm thriving. I don't want to just survive. I want to thrive. And I don't care who's in office. I have the mindset that I'm going to thrive regardless. Plain and simple. All right. So I'm going to check the comment section to see if anybody have anything for that before we go in here and close out. Let me look here. All right, let me get this closed. Let me get that closed. Make sure that my streaming is showing up. And while I do that, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Again, if there's a like button on the platform that you're watching this on, hit that like button. That really helps me out. Okay. All right. So one of my platforms did not stream, but it is what it is. Actually, two of them didn't. Ew. All right. I'll worry about that later. Last topic for today. I like to do this segment called Reddit Reads, Rants, and Advice. And one of the reasons why I like doing this is because people are asking questions online because they like the anonymity of asking these questions, and or you can ask questions online and get an aggregate of people respond. Some of them genuine, right? But getting that aggregate data, however you say it, tomato, can help you determine what could work for you. Okay. So with that being said, I'm going to display this thing here because I thought that the answer to this was so easy, but some people just don't see what's going on. All right. This Reddit Reads, Rants, and Advice came from the subreddit Relationship Advice. All right. And Altruistic Candle 254 wrote the following. In the title, he called My Wife, who's 38, wanted to split up with me, and he's 41, but now has just came back as if nothing has changed. I feel sick. I need advice. What do I do? Just based on that alone, I had to rub my temples because I'm like, bro, what? But let's get into it. This guy said 7 years I quit my job and moved away from my family and friends so that my wife could start her dream job out in a small town. Problem number one, right there. In the first sentence, I've identified what's going on. Now, I don't know who was the primary earner in their relationship. I don't think he said that later on down in here. I actually tried not to read all of this so that I could give my thoughts live. All right. So I just read the title and I read the first two sentences. But I think right there in sentence number one, he messed up. He messed up. He says, about 2 years ago, my wife got a big promotion, which was 1 hour outside of town, and it came with a workhouse. Okay. So this promotion that his wife earned came with a separate place that she could live in as well. This place was only 1 hour outside of town. How long of a commute was it? I live in a place where some people have an almost 2 hour commute. The average with where I live, if you work down in DC and you're going to work during the commute time, it could be around an hour to an hour and a half easy. I'd say the average is like an hour and 20. That's the average to commute to work. So why couldn't she just make that commute each day? Okay. So 2 months in, after that promotion, he said his wife came in and says that she wants to separate. She said, "I love you like how I love a friend or my favorite piece of furniture." Bruh, hold up. Let me see if I can make this bigger. That's what she said. "I love you like how I a friend." The disrespect. Oh my goodness. The disrespect. All right. Let's continue. Let's see how bad this gets. He said, "I did the dumb thing and begged and pleaded with her to stay in church. She said she would therapy and she hated how he worked nights. So what did he do? He changed to a day job and she said that it just didn't work. So this dude is making all these changes for somebody that is essentially saying, I'm not happy. And he's chasing her tail, chasing and doing things to try to make it work. And what is she doing for him? Now, this is just one side of what's going on, right? But he's presenting this from his side. So I'm looking at this from one set of lenses. Okay. Moved for her, changed his hours for her. The part where she said she would try but didn't want to do therapy, that's when he should have just been like, you know what? There's no point. There's no point. She was telling you right there, bruh, I'm done. She was saying right there, anybody that says I don't want to do therapy, I don't want to even try to mend this thing, is what they're saying by saying that. All right. So he goes on to say, so while I worked in town and looked after the kids during the week, she would come home on the weekends. If she was only 1 hour, what did she do? If she's only 1 hour away, why would she stay there throughout the week and then come back? Was she working like 15-hour days, 14-hour days, 12-hour days? Even if you're working 12-hour days and you have a 1 hour commute, and this is assuming, because he said 1 hour out of town, the commute might be a little bit longer. That's still not bad. It's hard, but that's not bad. Okay. Sometimes saying I love you, spending time with him and cuddling. She was probably just saying that to keep him happy. Then for a month or two, she would be cold and distant. Bro, she was cheating on you. She was bruh. She was cheating on you. There is another bull in the ring and you don't know it. All right. He said if I tried to talk about us, she would shut it down. So the beginning was a shit roller coaster. All right. So he said the house in town was being subsidy. I don't know why he put this here, was being, and then he wrote subsidy rented in her name. So I was a bit stuck knowing that I couldn't afford to rent my own place. And he said because he quit his night job, his pay was sufficiently less. Her coming home got less frequent. Of course, who didn't see that coming? Who didn't see that coming? Her coming home got less frequent, and because we live in a small town, I hear that she's going out drinking and partying more and more. I was also told I was also told by people that she was having an affair with a male coworker. Ding, ding, ding. Stevie freaking Wonder could see this. go in this direction. For the last 8 months, she's been cordial but distant. And about 2 weeks ago, I went to her work house. One of the kids had a sleepover birthday party. Okay. She put up a photo of their kids, her friends, and the male co-worker. So not even a picture of him. And he asked, "Where are we?" She said nothing. "Why are you dealing with this?" I can't. Why are you dealing with this, dude? I said that when we are still doing things together. And she said it was I who wanted this. I said I want a proper divorce because being in limbo is slowly killing me. And she said if I do, she'll try to have full custody of all 3 kids. And even though she will only get them half of the time, it will make them bus to and from school for an hour. I mean, look, bro, hey, you stuck between a rock and a hard place. Now, people say she'll try and have full custody. Folks want to throw that to try to get some leverage and power over you and to scare you. Okay. You should get a lawyer, plain and simple. I know you think that money's tight, or it sounds like money's tight for you, but you can't let her bully you like this, man. He went on to say, I went home feeling sick and stuck. Last week during the holidays, me and my kids went for a day trip with another single mom and her kids. Here we go. Now things are turning around. He said last week during the holidays, I already read that part. He says, while it was just platonic, it was a great day. My wife was home when we got home, and my kids told her about the whole day. Now, all of a sudden, I don't know why, but my wife has for the last week started saying, I love you more to me. After this guy didn't hear it for about a year. And he said he hasn't even bothered to say it back. Talking about our future or talking about moving into town. He goes on and says that the house is rented in my name now. I have a nice group of friends now that he works days. And he said he had no friends when he initially moved out here. And I don't think I want to be with her. I'm really stressed and I'm worried about to do. I really need advice. All right. So hearing all of that, what would y'all do? What would y'all do? The part right here where it says, I don't think I want to be with her. That's the wrong way to think. After everything she's put you through, after it seemed like unilateral decisions that occurred, or him thinking that he had to do this to please her, only for her to then run away from that, right? Oh, I got this gump. He's going to do everything that I want him to do. If she said jump, it sounds like this dude would say how high. Hey, what's this guy's name again? Altruistic Candle 254. First of all, I appreciate your vulnerability and being able to put this out there. You ain't the only gump that this has happened to. And I'm gonna call you a gump right now, but I say that very lovingly. Okay. Right here, I don't think I want to be with her. You made a claim that you went out with a single mom and her kids, and that it was just platonic. Did you have an attraction to that single mom? Right now, y'all are just simply playing house with you and your current wife, who should be your ex-wife. Why are you letting this thing go? Why don't you make the decision? She's likely only coming back into the picture, feeling some type of way because jealousy is crazy, right? Now that you look attractive and she saw somebody find you attractive or enough to spend the day with you at least. Okay? Now she's going, if you don't see that and you don't get out, you're not the one that start taking steps. You don't make the decision to say, instead of going, I don't think I want to be with her, and say, I don't want to be with her, then she is going to continue to use you, step on you, and make things that much harder when you come to your senses and get the divorce, unless she beats you to it by filing. I'm going to tell you right now, do not sleep with your wife. Don't sleep with your wife, because you get another baby in her that resets the clock on everything, and she got your ass for even more, bro. So don't even consider sliding back in the bed with her. That's step number one. And then step number two, make the hard choice. Make the hard choice. There's nothing that says that this family can still be a family. I have read of people able to separate and come back together and make things work out. But from what I read here, I just don't see it. All right. So let me look and see what the comments have said about this, and then we're going to close this out. Marriage Politics and Sports said, children trap a man in a horrible marriage. You know what? Yes, they do. And that's unfortunate, because it's easier to get out of a horrible marriage when there are no children involved. But even if there's one, it's still something that could be a bad decision. I'm going to be very personal. Let me share my screen here, make myself bigger. When I knew that I was getting divorced, I actually formulated out of my mouth an idea to my now ex-wife, in which I said, let's stay together but not be together. Meaning, you do you, I do me, but we play house, so that until our kid turned 18, and she was 4 years ago, she's about to be 17, so she was like 13, 12 at the time when we made the decision to get divorced. All right. And it didn't take long, thank goodness, and it happened right before COVID. But I thought that I was trying to protect my kid by having that plan, and by allowing her to have both of her parents under the same roof at least. And it came out of desperation, and it was dumb. Like, I look back and I laugh at it that I was in to even formulate those words out of my mouth, because if I could go back, I would Will Smith slap myself for even thinking that. All right. Let's see. Michelle said, if you don't know that you want to be with someone, then you don't want to be with them. Absolutely. Marriage Politics and Sports says that it's because of the kids. Yeah. I agree. God happened to be also said some marriages become horrible because of the existence of children. Hear me clearly. I'm not saying children are the root of divorces. I'm saying that parenting wears on marriages 100%. Absolutely. Shout out to Pete. Said, I can slap you. No, nobody touches this head but me, my lady, and my kid if she asks. Can anybody else that does it? Just don't ever touch my head. I'm going to say very, very publicly, don't even prank me about touching my head. It's an instant thing for me because of some childhood issues. All right. And God have to be said, did I ask your daughter the question from earlier? I have not, but I haven't forgotten. Just right at our session, I had something else to go to. Then I came back and I had to. I'm going to ask her. God happened to me, asked me a question earlier that's going to be on the King and Me show. I'm not going to talk about it here. Tune into the King and Me show live every Monday at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Standard Time Zone on all major live streaming platforms. All right. Pete, don't. He says, now I have to. Don't joke about that. Like, I'm telling you, if you want to end this friendship, do that. And the friendship's done. All right. I don't play around about that. Okay. Just like God happened to be said, Pete never touched my head. I don't play around with that at all with anybody. I don't want my mom touching my head. Again, it stems from some childhood stuff. All right. So that is my live stream for today. I will be back next Wednesday with this same format, right? I'm going to give my TRT update. I'm going to talk about something that is mindset related, find what I think is an interesting article and get people's opinion on it. And then we're going to close back with some Reddit's reads, rants, and advice. Marriage, Politics, and Sports said, here's my pushback. Children only wear on marriages that are not rooted on the spousal relationship being the center of it. All right. And that's a little bit of pushback to what God happened to me said earlier, to which she responded, facts, MPS. Absolutely. P said, King, you know I won't do it. I'm just talking shit. Hey, man, I can't read sarcasm with people, so I have to be clear. I have to be clear. Okay. And God happened to me said, King and I had mentioned that today. Yes, we did. Marriage, Politics, and Sports on next week's The King and Me show. It's a pre-recorded episode because of travel, but we talked about step parenting, right? And we got deep, we got personal, and I think that there was some nuggets in there. I know you've got your nucleus family, married almost as long as I've been alive on this earth, so props to you. And yesterday's stream that you had, man, whoo-wee. That dude Jeff is out there with some of his thoughts and ideas. And I ain't never seen Arpain like snap, but Arpain was like, yo, I'm ready for all the smoke. He said,
today I got time, cuz.
And he let people know what the business was, man. That was an interesting live stream that you did on BMU. All right. God happened to me said the marriage comes first. The spouse is more important, and some people don't want to acknowledge that, right? F them kids. And I say that with mine sitting right over there in the other room. You say that you went a little too far. Did you think you lost your composure? I think you gave. I don't think you went too far. Some people don't have proper decorum. I like to think that I'm centered, and I don't allow people to push me off of my center. And the only time that I'll say that I went far is if I felt as though I allowed somebody to push me off center. I don't think you went too far. And again, as you were talking, I was putting in the comments on YouTube, I 100% agree with you. I understood what you were saying. And people want to be contrarian just to be contrarian. It can be more entertaining, right? And folks are allowed to have their opinions that's different or dissenting, but don't lose common sense while giving your dissenting opinions. That's my take on it. All right. Right here with, if we have no other comments, I'm doing an upcoming book review on a book called Protect Your Peace by Trent Shelton. That's going to be 2 weeks from now on Wednesday, July the 24th. So tap in with me on that. And with that being said, no other comments. Let's see. MPS did write back and say, I only from the standpoint that I don't like to rage. I hate anything that makes us a victim. I wish I had a celebration thing here because let me see if this is it. That is not it. I don't even think y'all heard that. Yes, I don't like the victim mentality. I don't like the loser mentality. It's high on my list of things that I'm trying to get people to change. And when people start talking about things that I'm old XYZ, if I'm able to use my mouth and I don't stop myself, I immediately go, you ain't old shit. You're not owed anything. You have the opportunity to dig yourself out from where you're at. And slavery's not a reason why in 2024 you can't be stupid rich. Access to education is not the perceived lack of access. Or no, let me say that specifically, because I've heard many people say this. Public school education. Some people say I'm a product of public school education. A good bit of my peers are a product of public school education. All right. And once they graduate, whatever you decide to do with that education, yes, some people are have a further head start in life, but it's not really the education component that I think is the reason. It's the people that had sex and brought them into this world. It's where their lot kind of came from that gives some people a 50-meter head start once you finish grade school. And that's if you finish grade school. There are some successful, great minded people that dropped out of high school. Some have gotten their GED, others haven't, and are still stupid rich. And if they kept that victim mentality or losers mentality, they wouldn't be. Oh, I ain't get my GED, so I can't become the next CEO of some major thing that employs thousands of people and folks call me boss. I just Art Payne, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. He says, good stream, Cream. Thanks, man. I appreciate that, brother. Got out of me says, now you know inequity and wait, hold on. Let me try to read this right. Now you know inequity and inequity are real in all facets of life. I think let me try to interpret this. Inequity and inequality. Is that what you're trying to type there? Gotta happen to me. I'll hang back a second. Yes, okay. Inequity and inequality are real in all facets of life. Babe, I love you. Yes, inequity is a thing. Yes, it is. It runs through all facets of life. If you sit in inequity and if you sit in inequality, how can you expect to rise above it? That's my message, right? I can acknowledge that inequity exists. I can acknowledge that inequality exists everywhere. I just choose not to sit in it. I just choose not to allow it to affect me. I make the choice to acknowledge its existence and move away from it. All right. And she says that the desire to rise above something and the ability to do so are two different things. That's true too, but but you can have the desire to be to get out of the ghetto, right? And while you may not have an immediate ability yourself, the society that we live in does provide chances for people that take action to make it happen. They might not have the ability themselves, but they do have the inherent desire. And for some people, they can they can have the ability themselves to make it work, and for others, it will require some help, right? I didn't get to where I'm at without help. I didn't get to where I'm at without help, right? But I also had the desire to improve my lot in life, and I had help to get there, right? And I acknowledge the people that have helped me get to where I'm at. And I'm thankful for that. Again, like I said earlier in the stream, uh, show me who your, closest peers are, and I can pretty much have an idea of what your lot is in life. And that's not a judgment thing. It is an observational thing. Okay. Our Payne says that you're going to have a panel discussion on this topic. Hey, it needs to happen, our Payne. It needs to happen. And if you want to come on, we can make that happen full shiggity. And I know that my man in Germany, Jason, would join that as well and offer his thoughts on it. All right. God happen to be said, James in Florida is still trying to get out the hood. No doubt, no doubt. All right, look, y'all made this fun. I started a little bit late and I went longer than I wanted to as well. I think the hour is about a sweet spot for me for my live streams, but if the conversations get flowing, they could definitely go a little bit longer. So to those of y'all that tuned in, thank you. I want to say I'm streaming on my own personal live stream as well. And some people might have caught it. And if they did, I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'll be back live next Wednesday. And that's it. I'm out. Have a good one. Peace.